Hey, what's up? Welcome to another episode of the AnnaDives podcast. And today's episode will be painless, I promise. We're going to be talking about top reasons, 3 main reasons why you're not losing weight, and what you can do to get yourself unstuck out of that plateau. And if you're yo-yoing from diet to diet, what you could do to get over your dieting addiction. So before we get started, let me just give a little disclaimer. The views and the advice and the opinions given here are not by a doctor or a clinical nutritionist, but I am an expert in the field of health and wellness. And overall, the tips and advice I'll be giving here are pretty simple. They're pretty easy to do. So you'll find they'll be very helpful if you are in that space. But first, let me talk about something exciting that is coming to this community. I'm talking about the AnnaDives.Club. That'll be launching soon. So if you are super busy, you don't have time to fumble around the internet finding for what works in terms of health and wellness and lifestyle, and you pretty much have no one around you to give you accountability, it's somebody to cheer you on as you're trying to elevate your life, then you are the right person for the AnnaDives.Club that is going to be launching 1st of March. And what we want to do in this community is to create and give you content around tips, tricks, shortcuts, expert advice on habits that stick, that will help you create the life that you love. So whether it's around dieting, fitness, mental health, relationships, financial health, there are going to be courses and masterclass in our community that you can get access to see really amazing results in a short period of time. On top of that, we're going to be having the Elevators community. So I don't know how you guys feel about that name. It reminds me of a lift, but I like it because we're elevating our lives. So the Elevators community group will be there for accountability support, like-minded people who are going to come together and cheer you on as you level up your life. And I'll be giving a 10-minute weekly tip in the community on habits that will impact your health in one way or another. And on top of that, you'll be getting a monthly African healthy menu plan, right? That's really important for me to add the word African, because if you've been trying to eat healthy and you go online and you try to buy meal plans or menu plans, one of the challenges you'll find is that the ingredients are just not very relatable to us in Kenya or in Africa. So in this community, you're going to be accessing a monthly menu plan of delicious recipes with ingredients that are local and absolutely relatable and seasonal, right? So for all that, you'll be able to access for just $9 a month. It's not even a full Java meal. It's amazing. So just for $9 a month, you'll be able to access all that. And I need to add some of the podcast editions, some special edition podcasts or webinars with experts will only be accessible to our community. So I suggest you run there and subscribe as soon as possible. So under this episode on the show notes, there'll be a link for you to be able to subscribe and join the Elevators community, the AnnaDives.Club. If you type AnnaDives.Club, you can get access to that. All right. So tell me, is this you? You cut out all carbs. You cut out almost all sugar. You increased your intermittent fasting hours. You've started working out, or you've increased your workout hours, but you're just not seeing results, and you're wondering how. Maybe initially when you started, you saw a decrease in your weight, but then all of a sudden there was a plateau. The weight was not budging. And what did you do? You decided to push it a little bit further. So maybe you ate less, maybe you worked out more, or you fasted more, and nothing was happening. If anything, you added weight. Yikes. Can you imagine that disappointment? So if this is you, then let me delve into the reasons why your weight is not moving. And the reason number one is one of the reasons why when I share to clients that I'm coaching, they really get surprised. You're under eating. That's reason number one why your weight is stuck is because you are under eating. And to understand the concept of under eating, you need to understand how the body works and the energy requirements that are needed, even without exercise, to have a very good sense of whether you're under eating or not. So there is so energy balance, energy in versus energy out. But our body doesn't work like just a simple calorie in, calorie out machine, right? There's a whole lot more that goes on to keep you alive. And so I introduced the concept of basal metabolic rate, right? That's your calorie needs when your body is at rest. When you're not doing anything, you're just lying down, you're just breathing, right? And digesting. So basal metabolic rate on average for women is between 1,400 to 1,500 calories and 1,600 to 1,700 calories for men. Now, listen, these are your energy requirements when you're doing nothing, right? Now, let me add in another energy requirement, which is called non-exercise activity, NEAT. Now, this is when, you're walking around the office, you're driving, you're maybe doing shopping, you're taking care of your kids, you're doing little house chores here and there. Those account for some calorie needs. They account for some energy expenditure. On top of that, we've got something called TEF, thermal effect of food. Thermal effect of food. So this is the amount of calories you burn to digest that food. And you find protein, for instance, has a higher TEF than carbs, right? And so this one, that TEF accounts for some energy expenditure within your day. And if you go to the gym, you run, you take a walk, you swim, there's the exercise activity, EA, and that accounts for some calories. So let's add the BMR, the basal metabolic rate, your energy needs when you're at rest, the non-exercise activity, little chores here and there, the TEF, thermal effect of food, what you are expending in terms of energy to burn or digest that food, and exercise activity, and add all that. It's quite a significant amount of calories. And, people actually sometimes don't have that full picture. They think if I take in 1,500 calories, I'm going to burn 1,500 calories just through maybe exercise activity or so on. If you are taking in 1,500 calories and your BMR, you need to find out what your BMR is. And there are all sorts of calculations and machines that will tell you your BMR is 1,500 calories. So you're taking in 1,500 calories. Your BMR is 1,500 calories. You're exercising. You're doing cardio. You're doing all these things. So you have a much larger deficit than your body can handle. I'm sorry for nodding out, guys. I hope you're following me. I hope you were following me. You can actually rewind and try and write all that down, and maybe the next time you see your coach or your nutritionist, you can ask them about these figures, so you have a very good and clear understanding where your calorie needs need to be, right? And so when you undereat, what happens is if it's too little, your body is gonna adjust. Our bodies are smart. Our bodies are incredibly smart. It's going to adjust. And what it's going to do is it's going to slow down your metabolism. Your metabolism is basically the rate at which you burn calories so that it can protect itself. So it's almost entered into a starvation because the body doesn't know you're doing a diet. No, your body probably is still in the pre-ancestor times where we were scavengers out, in the wild, and maybe would have one meal in 2 weeks because it's so rough out there. Like, for lack of a better word, it's a bit primitive, and you will think you're starving. So your metabolism is gonna slow down, and so every food you eat, even if it's very little, you're going to store because your body has become efficient. Metabolic efficiency is not a good thing. You want your body to be metabolically inefficient so it can burn all the stored fat. I hope it's clear so that you can actually start giving yourself permission to eat. Start to give yourself permission to nourish your body without thinking, I kind of need to punish myself. I kind of need to push it a bit further, because the further you push it, the harder it becomes to actually lose the weight. And so when I tell people, okay, we're going to do something called reverse dieting, which are all concepts you're going to learn in AnnaDives.Club, you better think about joining. Reverse dieting basically is to start to work your calories upwards and get you to a point where your body now starts burning efficiently. Now your metabolism is starting to pick up. And then you don't go down drastically, from 2,200 calories to like 1,500 or 1,200. No, it's usually a very slow, gradual deficit. Like you find, for instance, myself, I'm on just 150 deficit, just 150, and I'm working out, I'm doing all these things because I know, and especially for women, if you push it too far, your hormones are gonna go out of balance, and it's just gonna be harder. So it's a very deep topic, and it's impossible to cover it in its entirety in this podcast episode. And that's why I'm saying you need to be in the club, because we have a free masterclass explaining how to eat for your body type. So you can understand these concepts really, really well. And when you become a master of your own body, it becomes so easy. It becomes so easy to play around and work around your calories as you're listening to your body, as you're monitoring. So under eating, reason number one. Reason number two that I find for most people, which is so looked over, is sleep and stress. You could be doing everything right. You could be going to the gym. You could be exercising. You could be, watching even the deficit. It's within the correct range, but you're not sleeping well, or you're stressed. So let me talk about sleep. And there are numerous studies online that have linked stress to obesity. Right? And it's just basically around, you haven't slept well. So your hunger hormones are a bit out of whack, and you start to crave for something sweet or energy, and you find yourself eating a bit more. And that's the connection. It's actually pretty hormonal. And also it causes more stress the other day because, you're crabby. You're not happy when you've not slept. I don't know how you guys feel, but if I haven't slept well the next day, I'm usually quite irritable. And to find something to calm me down or comfort, I will reach for carbs. I will reach for maybe even coffee. And that increases the stress. It becomes a real rat race. And what's the right amount of sleep? Between 7 to 9 hours, really, like a baby. You should be sleeping like a baby. If you're doing anything less than that, start working it upwards. Think about your bedtime routine. It's really, really important. And one tip I could give you guys is I discovered this sleep meditation music. And at first I was like, it doesn't work. Until I started to realize just how deep my sleep would be the days I listened to that just before sleep. And sleep meditation music is kind of like, you guys, when you've gone to for a massage and what they play in the background, if you've gone to a nice spa, it's like this natural sounds of either a waterfall or an ocean with some birds and cricket, whatever. Like that is what it is, and it really calms you down. So there are so many meditation apps you can download, and just be intentional about your sleep. The second one is stress, and stress is a big one because it causes an increase in the hormone cortisol, and elevated cortisol over time causes belly fat. That stubborn belly fat is elevated cortisol over time, and it becomes really tough to lose because you end up being a bit insulin resistant. Again, concepts that we will go through in detail when, we go through this free masterclass in the AnnaDives.Club. So stress is another one that you guys need to think about. And for me, I could tell you exercise has helped me tremendously manage my stress, other than therapy, which we talked about the therapy session. The last episode was a therapy session, which I think you guys need to go and watch. It's such a fantastic one with Dr. Vundi, the wellness doctor, the psychiatrist, and we went over a lot, even how to find a therapist. So that's one way of managing stress. I think a lot of people are stressed around this time this year. It's crazy. And exercise, getting up, getting you out of bed, getting those endorphins. Find something you enjoy. It doesn't have to be CrossFit or the gym. Just find something you enjoy and stay consistent with it. And mindfulness, just meditating and stuff like that. Reason number 3. And this is a good one because I find a lot of people get stuck here when they start a healthy lifestyle. They have changed their diet and they're eating healthy, but they're like, yo, I'm not losing weight. What is going on? And it could be you're eating too much healthy food. Again, it's a balance. I get it. A lot of people don't want to count their calories. They don't want to measure their food. They're like, oh, it's too much work. But sometimes it's really important to find a baseline, right? So you might think, okay, but I'm eating fruit. I'm eating all the amazing healthy stuff. But for a snack, you're having half a pineapple. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's a lot. That's too much fructose for your body, because if you're not burning it, the liver will turn it to glucose and you're going to store it. You're just going to store it. There's nowhere else for it to go. So it needs to be the right balance. And when I start working with clients and I'm getting them into the healthy lifestyle, to avoid this trap, we go through measuring and having a very good sense, an idea, a visual cue of how much you need to eat. Because you just need a visual cue. You don't need to measure every day of your life because you're going to be out there in the restaurants, in meetings and whatever. You just need a visual cue of my carbs are this much. My proteins are this much. My vegetables are this much. For me, for your body type. Because we're so different. Let me tell you guys, if I eat something and exercise one way and you eat the same way I am, we're never going to look the same. Never. And that's why body type is so important. And we go over it in the free masterclass in the AnnaDives.Club. Now, you need to also account for the licks, the bites, the sips, those little things that you're doing during the day that you're very subconscious about. And let me give a caveat here. This is mostly for the parents, because I fall victim there. We're giving our kids the snacks, all that, and then they come, either they want to feed you or they've left it and you're like, why are we going to waste this? You eat it, or you're out, they're having milkshake and they're like, okay, let me just taste your milkshake, or they haven't finished whatever biting. This is such a trap. It's such a trap because on the whole, when you look at your day, you're like, but I ate so well. You didn't account for the sips, the licks, the bites. And those count because, again, when it comes to weight loss, it's a simple equation. I say that even when I said that our body is not a simple calorie machine, but the principle is there. Calorie in versus calorie out, we have to create a deficit, not a surplus. Okay. So even if you're eating healthy, just be mindful of that. When you're having rice and beans and it's a large portion, that's too much carb. You're going to store it. So what happens, if you've been in this sort of dieting cycle, you have tried all sorts of diets, there are so many out there. And here's a statistic, guys, and it's going to shock you. 95% of people that go on a diet gain it back, and some within 3 to 5 years. Yep. They don't work. They really don't work. That's a proven statistic. And what you need to do is actually a lifestyle change. That is what needs to happen. Do not fall into the trap of thinking this next diet will sort me out. Learn your triggers. And especially when you're feeling low and you're thinking, I need to go on another diet to sort me out. What was that trigger? Because we need to cut that loop. For many people, it may be Instagram. You went on Instagram, you saw this influencer, she was something, her tummy was flat. And let me tell you guys, do not believe everything in Instagram. Not all of those people have done things the hard way. Very few have done it the hard way. A lot of people, well, they've had a surgery or two, and I don't know. Unless they tell you, unless they tell us, you can't know. So you cannot base that for, that emotional decision on that picture, on their highlight of the day, their best angles. That's not enough, right? So if that's your trigger, by the way, you are welcome to unfollow them. Unfollow them. If they keep triggering you to start feeling less about yourself, to feel less beautiful, to feel less capable, to feel less healthy, unless they're giving you really amazing health information, but you're welcome to unfollow them, because we want to cut that loop. Because I feel like going into diet sometimes is a very emotional decision and probably not a very health-based decision, unless you've gone to a coach, a nutritionist, a doctor, and they've given you a protocol. If you just saw this diet online and whatever, sometimes that's an emotional decision. Another loop could be weighing too much. You're checking the scale too much, right? And you're starting something and you're not giving it time. You're being impatient. You're jumping ahead of yourself. I'll tell you this, guys. In this year of 2022, we're about to go into March. I've never checked the scale on my weight. Haven't. And not because it was a conscious decision, actually, because I realized that little number is influencing way too much for me, it's just a number, guys. You know what indicators I decided to look into? I started looking into indicators like sleep, because that was a big one for me. I struggled. My sleep really, if you follow me on Instagram, which you should, at AnnaDives, I struggled with sleep last year. I was taking melatonin and glycine and ZMA, all kinds of supplements just to get my sleep better. And I said, you know what? I can't be on supplements forever. We need to change our lifestyle. So I worked on a bedtime routine. My sleep is better. The second indicator was my workout performance. That's a big one for me. I'm now in a program. It's more intense. So how am I doing there? And then clothes. Like, I just decided to work with clothes. What is fitting me well? How I'm feeling and my energy. Those are my indicators, and that's all I need to know. The scale, that scale is still there. You can hide yours if you're always seeing and being tempted to check. But in the club, and one of the things about knowing your body type is understanding that the real indicators to look out for and how to track them. And what's the third one? What could be another trigger? Stress, your environment. If you have a stressful job or a stressful family situation, you really need to get a handle to that, because that really can be a trigger to undereating, which we talked about initially. And I find some people say, when I'm stressed, I don't eat. That's not a good thing. Or you start pushing it with intermittent fasting too hard. And I've seen that program. It's very popular in Kenya, in Nairobi. I don't know if it has a name. All I know is that you go on really long hours of fasting, up to 96 hours, I think, in a week. That's not healthy. Do you know what's going to happen when you do that? You're going to be nutrient deficient. Like your zinc, your vitamin A, your vitamin C, all these important vitamins that help your body really function well, you're going to be really low on them. And so your body is not going to perform at its optimum, and you're going to feel worse. And we talked about undereating, which is your body now kicks into a starvation mechanism over time. Because initially you'll be really happy. You lose the water weight. You'll be like, oh, I'm losing a kilo a week. But it will catch up with you, because we cannot cheat our body. We cannot. So I'd highly suggest intermittent fasting is a great lifestyle habit, but what I would suggest is think of it as just your natural body's rhythm. When are you naturally hungry? When are you naturally, and you're gonna, if you've been doing intermittent fasting for a while, you're gonna need to fix that fast for you to really know. But it shouldn't be anything too intense, and you shouldn't, especially for women, I don't think you should be fasting every day. But you're welcome to look up all this information online, and you'll see there are too many studies that have connected the slowing of metabolism with prolonged intermittent fasting hours. Now, habits are so important. Habits are what are going to get you to the healthy lifestyle. And one of the things that really excite me is the behavioral science of habits, because we are wired, we are habit creatures. If you want to get stuff done, just make it a habit in your life. That's how you're going to get it done. Forget motivation and discipline. Those two are going to fail you. They're going to fail you so bad. And willpower. You just need to find a way to stack habits. And that's what's going to help you eat right, exercise most days of the week, sleep right, get your mental health in check, get your relationships in check. It's all about habits. I love it. And I think a lot of the content that we're going to be doing going forward, and in the club, in the Elevators Club as well, is going to be around the behavioral science of habits, helping you stack those healthy habits that will help you, live with intention and create a life that you love, right? So that's the angle to think about when you want to change your lifestyle. Think about the habits. And finally, your why. What's your goal and what's your why when it comes to weight loss, because of the why power. You need to listen to episode 2. When we had Nanjero here, the triathlon athlete and the family man who's doing like 1,000,001 things. And we were talking about the why power and how it can help you live healthier. Listen to that episode because it can help you define your why power, and you can tap into that when you're thinking about your long-term game of weight loss. I said it, long-term game. I've done it twice. I've lost 30 kilos twice in a span of maybe 6 years. And it was a long-term game, not less than a year to 18 months, and giving yourself super realistic goals and getting a very deep why, because that's what kept me going in those 2 rounds of weight loss. But it just really gives you focus when you can do that, when you can conquer your body, conquer your cravings, conquer fear or laziness or whatever it is that is keeping you from doing it. I feel like it really opens your mind to set that focus to other things. It's just, it's amazing because I share in episode 1 how, the weight loss journey was a catalyst to a whole new career, purpose, and this, what I'm doing today. So you can do it. It's not impossible to get to a weight you're happy at. And what's that weight? It's the weight where you don't have to think about your weight. There's no number. There's no dress size that is a standard. It's all you. It's what fits you, what makes you happy, and how energized and amazing you feel. So that is it. Thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to Human Hair Center for linking me up with this unit. And I also want to give another shout out to Semabox for doing the productions for these videos. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this episode. I hope you gleaned something amazing from it that you can implement today. And I want to kindly request you to share a review or tell a friend about this podcast, or you can leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Remember, every Friday, right here and on all major podcasting platforms, and on YouTube, Anna Dives. Thank you so much.